Hey everyone, how is everyone doing on this Monday night, April 21st, 2025? I am just doing my podcast, my half an hour of babbling and whatever else I talk about from the experiences of my life. Now, also, my wife is part of my life. She's here. So is both of us, right? First is you, sir, and then your wife. Both of you. And then everything else comes, right? Finally, we had a nice, actually, warm weather weekend. And, me and my wife went up to Bear Mountains. We actually drove up to the monument. It was nice, and she liked it. You can see the whole Hudson River, the hills. You can see Anthony's Nose. You can see the towns. What is it? Peekskill or one of those, right? Across from Bear Mountains. Westchester County, and we went down to the lodge and restaurant, and we just sat down outside, actually ordered some food. And then yesterday, actually, we played some golf. Actually, I kind of sucked. Actually, my wife I think she was better than I am, sort of. I lost so many fucking balls, huh?
You played good shots.
Yeah, but I also lost a lot of fucking balls, So back to being a cog in the wheel, back to being a donkey, work, whatever. But there is part of life, sir. I mean, what do you want to do? Just not work and, chill out all the time? Yeah, if I had money, in any case, so what is going on, huh? The money part is the real part, because especially, at my age, we're trying to get on our feet. My company, few years now after COVID pandemic, whatever the fuck, dude. And still, in engineering, really, there's no like, there's no money, basically. That's what I want to say. All right, you just get paid, and you pay your bills, and pretty much that is the grind of life you do every day, and you go through, and yeah, maybe I should actually look for some jackpot, right, to hit the jackpot. There's no such thing as jackpot. I mean, yeah, there are lotteries you can play, but I don't know. Life is a bitch, and then you die.
Life is a bit.
And yeah, I mean, you sometimes you work all your life, and then you realize, oh fuck, I should have done this at least to make some money on the side or whatever the fuck, right? And then by the time you're my age, you're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck anymore, dude. It is what it is, all right? So be grateful for what you have. Work towards what you want to have. Don't rob the fucking banks. Don't hurt people. All right? And that's it. And don't also let the run fucking run you over either. All right? And I don't know, which choir are you preaching to, sir? Same choir I preach every fucking night. Not every night, sir. Every podcast I do. Life is a hallucination. Well, it might be. Means, wait a minute, this is not fucking real, so what's real? It's like you wake up from a dream and you realize, oh shit, that dream was so fucking real. But then it was just a dream. So what's the relationship between a dream and real life? The dream is within the real life. All right. Now, in the grand scheme of things, if this whole real fucking life is within something else, which is more real than this, all right, then we are fucked. Are we? I think there are, not that I think, but there are people who actually dedicate their lives to find out what the fuck this whole thing is. All right. Like when I was younger, I had that, sort of like ambition, I gotta figure out, I gotta take some fucking mushrooms, I gotta take some whatever, and let's see where it takes me, I mean, I kind of believe that there are parallel dimensions, because what the fuck is that whole like experience? What is it? What is that hallucination, right? And if you listen to somebody like Terence McKenna, and he was the guru, back in the 80s and even 90s. And he was trying to figure it out, what the fuck that whole experience is. Is that some sort of a parallel universe? Means there is another realm concurrently happening with this reality. And what is the point of all that? I mean, is it telling you something that, oh, well, you know what? Maybe you should just step outside of this reality realm, step into that world, right? But that whole fucking reality, obviously, doesn't actually follow the laws of physics. I don't think so. I think they have their own fucking laws. If there's such thing as, a parallel universe, and astrophysicists do say that there's a parallel universe, but what the fuck is that parallel universe, right? So then what kind of laws does it follow? I mean, obviously that's not a physical universe, right? It's like, you are in a simulation. Or is this a simulation? That is the conundrum, all right? So if you are trying to figure out what that is, you know what like people like shamans do, right? They live on the outskirts of the towns and the cities, and back in the days, even in like Native American cultures and all that, right? Even our own culture, where I come from in mountains, they were like the healers, and they were the predictors and whatever the fuck, right? So they would be called in if there's a spiritual problem in the town or some shit, right? But obviously, science, physical science, and all the other fucking medical science and everything else, uh, have advanced to a point where we don't need shamans anymore. Is that what it is? Yeah, but I mean, the physical, I mean, the science, the physical world, except the fact that sometimes we feel like such things like dreams, right? Tell us or give us hints into our own fucking future, right? That in itself is a weird phenomenon if you think about it, right? So how does our consciousness or subconsciousness know our own fucking future? Does that mean that our subconscious, or our mind, has created this thing, which is actually beyond time, and so it can basically see things in future? I think that's what the shamans were doing, right? They could see the future. They could see, and actually, these are the words that I'm going to put in my mouth, Terence McKenna's words. So that the shamans were seeing who was going to sleep with who's going to steal the chickens, because they were basically traversing into the future, and they were seeing things in future, but they won't say anything, right, to the people in the town, because they would create a fucking chaos. All right, so that's what it is. So let's say that you mastered something like time, right, through whatever your shamanism or whatever psychedelics or whatever meditation, whatever the fuck, right? And then you basically transcend time, and then you see things in fucking future, but you're not supposed to tell anyone. All right? Because if you do, then you're going to create a havoc, in people's lives and the whole fucking nation's lives and towns, and that'll be weird, right? That's why the physical universe, the way it has been set up, if it is a setup, the limitations are that we can't actually somehow collectively be in future or no future. All right? No future, not be in future. Excuse me, sorry. And then just imagine that you're seeing your future a week from now, and then you're getting fired, right? Just imagine what that would do to you, right? From work or some shit, right? And so that's why we have these limitations and restrictions in this reality that we are in. All right, now if you transcend time, that becomes unveiled, right? The veil of time, the veil of the veil between present and future is gone, right? So what does it feel like? What does it feel like? Are you going to feel like, oh shit, seems like time is not going anywhere? Is that what you're going to feel? Or are you going to say, oh, you know what, I want to go into year 2082, right? But for that, there got to be some fucking rules, and like laws, right? Laws of physics in that fucking realm, right? I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, all right? But these are the existential questions of life. You know, but for many of us, we're not strong enough. I think we're not like bold enough to say, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to basically spend like a whole month in the forests of whatever or in the mountains and figure out what the fuck this whole realm is. All right. And even if we do, what's the point? What, I mean, you're gonna basically fly into another fucking planet and just like start cultivating another fucking crop there, or you're gonna basically jump into that other realm or reality and not be bothered with this. It's like you are running a computer within your brain where you just jump into a river or a sea of another realm, right? Or you basically, just like the Stargate, you basically go through some sort of a tunnel. But that all has to happen in your own fucking mind, right? It's not like physical. Maybe that your mind creates that physical like tunnel where you're like, oh shit, I'm now going into the other realm, right? You realize that. But then what happens after you go there, right? Is it like you go there and then you feel like and experience, not feel, but to experience, other beings maybe, other sort of like weird creatures? I don't fucking idea, all right? But that I think that is the future. I think that's what we are looking for. Not that we're trying to run away from this fucking reality. All right. I mean, I just fall into a black hole when I want to run away from the reality, right? Because I don't want to face the fucking reality. But it's like being what do you call travelers into other realms, right? There's a term for that. Psychonauts. There you go, psychonauts. All right. So that whole concept, all right, is very interesting. It's very hard to achieve, and I think if you were to basically bring something from that other realm that might help you in a positive way, I think that's the best. All right, but I don't know how. But is that like the Matrix? Remember, where we realize that we are in some sort of a computer simulation, inside a computer simulation where our whole reality is a setup by some other machines or alien fucking beings, and we realize, and this is the part, right? This obviously, in science fiction world or even sci-fi movies, there always has to be the bad guy and the good guy, right? The evil and then the devil, or the evil and then the and then the good, right? the good and the evil. So why does it have to be like that? All right. Intrinsically, nobody is an evil in this fucking world. All right. Their circumstances make them, their childhood, whatever, right? So without actually having that and just having an experience where everybody's equal, I mean, nobody's an evil, nobody's is a messiah, how do you actually, navigate that whole experience? All right, you just basically go in there and maybe you can try to figure out, for yourself if there's anything that you can do. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm sorry. If you have achieved something like that, and obviously then you have achieved that for first of all for your own benefit. Maybe I'm not talking about you're gonna find fucking treasures when you go into that realm and it tells you the map to the treasure island, right? But it's got to be some benefit, unless you become a really psycho after you go there and you come back and you are like a fucking lunatic, really. All right. That's a possibility too, right? And some people actually, in the beginning of, I think, the psychedelic era in the 60s, what the fuck, they were like, what the hell is this, And then I think when they came back, they were like, oh, this reality is not that interesting than where I was. Something to that effect, right? But, all right. Okay, so I think I talked about the whole thing. In a not in a sense that I am going to actually pursue something like that. I can't. I don't want to. I'm not strong enough either. All right. And I don't see the point. Maybe if I'm still alive after age of 65, right? My wife is looking at me as if I'm gonna go fucking nuts after the age of 65. I'm still alive, right? But wouldn't that be cool, actually, right? Like, hey man, I'm just kind of done with this fucking world, sort of. I mean, I kind of know everything here, all right? Maybe not everything, but I want to basically discover something more, right? And you realize that, oh shit, so there's the fucking realm and reality where, when I talk about, I get depressed when I look at the stars. If I see the fucking stars, you can't see the stars here because of the light pollution. And I know if our universe, not universe, our star system has this planet with life, there's gotta be, statistically speaking, not only Fermi paradox, but statistically, given the number of star systems and whatever the fuck, right? Gazillion, planets and their mother stars, right? There's gotta be a life out there. So, oh shit, so that means that when you get into this fucking realm, right? Then you really start meeting the people from the other fucking planets. Is that what it is? Maybe this is the only way to meet. Since we can't physically get to anywhere from our solar system to another fucking planet. Forget that. All right? Because of the distances. So if that's the case, obviously you're going to meet the humans who are already in there too, right? Just like you. But are they going to look like fucking humans? They're going to look at me like, oh, this guy is human. Or am I going to look like something else? I won't be there physically, so what would I look like? Right? Like being of whatever. Right? So, how are we going to recognize each other, right? I guess our mind somehow basically still keeps us intact. Some sort of identity still is valid, even whatever realm we are in, right? Psychedelic realm or shamanic realm or other, realm. See, the best part I heard, I know, I've tried psychedelics and all that, but the best part I heard is that people who actually get into something like that, they don't get in there, I think, just because they want to have some sort of a self-analysis, psychotherapy or whatever, right? That probably also helps them in many ways. But I think the best part, the visuals, where you actually start seeing things. I'm not talking about, you start seeing things while you are awake, but when you are in that realm, right? The real visuals, and what are those? And that's the best part I heard, all right? And that's where you meet the other realm, the creatures and all that, right? But am I making any fucking sense on this podcast? But is that the butterfly that our body as a termite is trying to create out of us, out of our mind, our body, the physical body? And that's where it wants us to actually go and find out. I don't know. All right, I think somebody like Joe Rogan talks about that. That maybe this is where it is, and then the whole thing with technology, and is the technology is going to also help us achieve that, or is going to actually be more deterrent? I have no fucking idea. All right, that's that's a whole different discussion. I think I talked about that a lot in my previous podcasts. All right, but interesting, right? There you go. I talked about something that's actually maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense, but very interesting, right? Maybe I should start writing something. Nah, I'm too fucking lazy to write shit. All right? And I don't have a lot of concentration. You need a lot of concentration. You need to drink a lot of fucking booze. All the writers, weren't they all boozers, aren't they? All right? The fucking whiskey drinkers and all that shit. Yeah, I thought about, writing something about science fiction, sci-fi and all that, right? But I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm just a robot, an engineer, all right? And I think for that you have to have some sort of an insight, like some sort of a storyline, right? And remember in dreams, I think I talked about this also. Remember in dreams, sometimes you're wandering and, you go from one fucking scenario to another, right? Within seconds or whatever. half an hour you are with your whatever cousins or whatever, your friends or whatever, wherever the hell you are, right? Mountains or whatever the hell. And then you realize that it seems like that's also a parallel reality, right? That's another fucking reality, what that is. Vivid dreams, right? So maybe dreams are somehow a key, not a key, but are a clue to actually get into a more vivid world of alternate reality. Okay, there you go. That's it. All right. So enjoy your dreams. Don't get the fucking nightmares. All right. Those are worse, actually. And what else? What else is going on now? That's it. I mean, it's already 31 minutes, and I want to watch something with my wife, and we're gonna pass the fuck out hopefully soon. All right. Obviously, I talk about all these things, but then my own fucking reality is that I can't sleep. That has been an issue, and my wife knows that, and you can't sleep for days, and then just things become very, very cranky. All right. So in any case, I hope you guys are getting some sleep. I'm gonna get some sleep, hopefully. And then life goes on. All right. Whether you get into other realms or not, at least you are in this realm. Just imagine that you are nowhere. No realm. What is that? That's like the fucking in between the hell and the heaven. Some shit like that, right? But yeah, a lot of deep breaths, and and be happy. That's what it is. Obviously, I have a really high metabolism that actually doesn't help, but I try my best to change my whole set of habits now that I'm actually with my wife. She's here, we're living together, right? So, all right, everyone, that's all. That's all I got to say, and I'll see you all next week. Have a great travel week.